What's going on, everybody? WSSU Ram Nation. This is Stephen J. Gaither. I am your host for tonight. Class of 2009 graduate, and history has been made here in the city of Winston-Salem. Our very own, uh, our very own new chancellor. A historic day indeed. We knew it would be coming into it. We didn't know exactly. Well, I'll be honest. I didn't know who was going to be the chancellor. At this point in my life, kind of when people see me coming to WSSU, they say hello and then they kind of stop talking. If they're in the know, but that's neither here nor there. But now it was a great day on campus. First off, I want to thank everybody for hopping in on this. Please, if you have not hit subscribe, please do. This platform. Obviously, a lot of you guys know me from HBCU Game Day. Before that, the News Argus and things like that. So, sports is a big part of my background, but I definitely want to make sure that WSSU Ram Nation is, first off, not just me and not just sports. And so today was very important, and I was glad I was able to be there. As Bonita Brown, Bonita J. Brown is the new chancellor of Winston-Salem State University. She's the 14th chancellor of WSSU. She was elected by the UNC Board of Governors, and following her nomination by University of North Carolina System President Peter Hands. And so it's a new process for the UNC system that they are undergoing. And I believe WSSU was the first chancellor to have their chancellor named under this. So, we're the first. Take that for whatever it's worth. But, so we've got a new chancellor. And you're not going to just see my face on here. You're going to see two other fellow WSSU alumni who are definitely making their waves in their own right in the field of education. And so they have some things that are near and dear to their heart and perspectives that are definitely needed to add. So we're going to bring them on. First, we're going to bring up Mr. Jeremy Lee. Jeremy, what's good, man? How you doing, brother?
How's it going? Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. No complaints, man. It's a beautiful day here at WSSU. See some history. They had some shout out to whoever made the cupcakes. I should know who made the cupcakes, but I don't. But they had these little welcome to WSSU. I definitely took the thing off my cupcake. I like keepsakes.
That's all right. You have to with keepsakes.
Yeah, man. But first off, introduce everybody to yourself. Your name, where you're from, your class, and then we'll talk. And Eric will be on shortly.
For sure, y'all. It's good to see everybody. We'll see you virtually. I am Jeremy Lee. I'm a class of 2013 graduate of Winston-Salem State. I am originally from Concord, North Carolina. I work in the higher ed space currently in student affairs. So very much connected to this opportunity and this historic day at our alma mater, and glad to see that we have made what I believe a really good choice for the future of our institution. So happy to share my thoughts here today and just kind of this process. Everyone's been chatting all day long about the search and who's been selected, and I'm happy to have a space to share that with you all. So thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I appreciate that for sure, Jeremy. It has definitely been, a long time coming. I guess, what is it now? It was last spring, right, when it was announced that Elwood Robinson would be making his way out of Ramland. Dr. Anthony Graham was established as the interim chancellor, and now we have a new chancellor in Bonita Brown. I'm gonna go ahead and bring up guest number 2, my guy, DC's own Eric Price. What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. How's everybody doing? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you. Yeah, man. Like we was just talking about with Jeremy. First off, introduce everybody to yourself, to you. First time on WSSU Ram Nation, but obviously not a stranger to the Ram League.
Oh, what's up, y'all? Eric Price. We go by freshman years around here, so I'm going to say incoming class of 2006. Alumni of the Bricks. And yeah.
I see you.
Listen, man. OG Bricks, representative. So, yeah, working in the higher ed space. Right now I'm in college access. So, this conversation is interesting. I got one of my students is actually about to be a Ram next year, so that's going to be interesting. So yeah, let's get into it. This is a good day though.
Yeah, man. It's I'll say so. I was the incoming class of 2004. It's 20 years now. Yesterday was 20 years since I graduated high school, bro. It's crazy. But the end of the day, man, it was a transformative time in WSSU. I came in under Chancellor Harold Martin. Eric, you as well, right? Or he was transitioning out when you came?
No, so and this is why today is actually special. So I want to give a shout out and praise to Michelle Howard Vital, because she was actually the chancellor when I came in. So I signed on for Martin,
right?
And by the time I got to campus, it was Howard Vital. So yeah, so I never even got to see Martin for real.
Right. That's wild. Yeah. And then Jeremy, you would have came in under DJR, correct?
Yes. I was in class of 08. I was finally in class. So a very, very large icon historic class at Winston. Take how you want to take it, but a large class under the Reeves administration. So that was fine. I actually graduated with Reeves, so as chancellor, and then he left Winston shortly thereafterwards. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how we have three different generations of chancellors represented here in the space.
Yeah, well, actually, all three of them were my chancellor. So, because I was on a good 5-year plan. Look, it was what it was. So I came in under Martin my first 2 years. And then he left, went for that big BOG spot in the sky, and we had Howard Vital, Dr. Howard Vital. Definitely thought about her as today's announcement came down, and then my last year, Reeves was there. My last 2 years, Reeves was there. So, yeah, man. So we've seen a couple of these transitions, and I don't know, man. I think this is the first one that I actually had a chance to go to the press conference for. Maybe I was there for Reeves. I can't remember, and if I can't remember, I probably wasn't there. But I thought it was interesting too, just kind of being in the space. Like, I was there as media, but also as an alumnus. And so the other thing I wasn't thinking about though is the people that were there as employees. That was pretty interesting because it's like, I don't know. So let me ask y'all, because I didn't know who was going to be the chancellor. I didn't. Again, like I said, people see me coming, they start closing their mouth. That's just the way it works now. But I didn't know. Did anybody in here, did either of you guys have an inkling about who it would be?
No, I didn't. There were rumors around some things being spoken about who potentially could be options. I did find interesting that a lot of them, for those history lessons, don't think about it. When Robinson was appointed chancellor, the names kind of like leaked from the system office back then, and so everyone kind of had this access to our three options at the time that were our chancellor potentials. And then I think that folks looked for that again and just go around with Chancellor Brown's selection. They were looking for those numbers and names and things. And so that didn't come to fruition. But I know some names and something kind of like dropped around for potential, just giving our folks knowledge about how the system kind of works, around who's in leadership and who kind of rises to the committee crop for chancellor options. I was not aware, though, that Chancellor Brown would be the option until we kind of heard the news and they kind of confirmed it. But names were dropped around. I will share that I had not heard her name as those ones dropped around, which take that for what you'll take it. But I was definitely happy to hear the news. And once she connected her very passionate story in connection to Winston, I was sold. I said, this is a really great name and definitely makes sense of why you were the one that won the finalists for this position.
Yeah. Let's just say I found out today.
That's good.
I found out today. Let's just say that. Right.
Okay.
Right. Like at what time that's not important. But I found out today. Yeah, it was very quiet. Right. And those of us who are frequenters to like National Alumni Association meetings and things like that, people will talk on the horn every now and then, word to a ram. We'll talk on the horn and make sure some information gets sent. things didn't really come out this time, and
Yeah, it was tight.
I'm actually happy about it,
Mm-hmm.
because I think, especially when Robinson came in, like it was because his name kind of leaked. There were some quickly created perspectives,
Right.
and expectations,
Yes.
right? And because of those expectations starting off so fast, I'm not gonna get into the whole tenure of Robinson and whatnot, and how the vantage of what things did take place and who did the things that took place and how that's always misconstrued. But yeah, and now today's announcement was actually a pleasant surprise from a secrecy standpoint. That was actually good to experience, honestly.
Yeah, because I talked to some of the people there. I was like, "Did you know?" Afterwards, I was like, "Did you know?" And they were like, "No, they didn't know." So that's the thing that kind of struck me. I was like, "Man, this is interesting." Like I was trying to think of a scenario in a working world where you kind of go into a room with all of these people and they don't know who their new boss is, and everybody's finding out at the same time. And again, I happened to think, I was like, "Man, because I would know." So what I was told Friday by someone that I trust, but it was only one source, is that the job that they felt that the jobs was interim chancellor Dr. Graham's to lose. Those were the words that were given to me, and so I was like, okay, well, I could see that. It's happened before. Kind of Harold Martin was appointed the interim chancellor, and I think he was the interim chancellor for like 2 years or a year and some change before he actually became the actually appointed chancellor. I did the research on that. But I thought that might be it. And so what happened was, being in there was a point where there was a section that was reserved for the family came in. And so all these people came in, and I don't know what Dr. Graham's family looks like, but you look for family resemblances and stuff. And I was like, and I'm like, I mean, I don't know enough to know, but I'm like, it doesn't look familiar. And I'm looking at other people's faces to see if they look familiar. So, like I said, it was really interesting. It's like with a president, you know who the president's going to be, when they come in. Now, even I guess you could think about maybe like a coach in an athletic team, like if you don't know who your coach is going to be. But nowadays, even that stuff usually gets leaked. So it was pretty interesting being from that vantage point. But
Yeah, that's. I think we were all scared because the last time we had a coach announcement, it didn't go too well.
And the emotions were there. Yes. Not the Jones game day bag. Saying I had a little PTSD for a second.
yeah. Well, it would. Well, and I think that was also. I think that was kind of maybe also my mind too. Not comparing the two, but just the incumbent person has the thing has been recently at WSSU. The incumbent person has gotten the job a lot of the times. So it was pretty reasonable to expect that maybe that would happen. But I think she can't. So I think, and I knew for sure when she said, "We appreciate Dr. Graham," and I'm talking about BOT trustee Kelly, when she was like, we appreciate Dr. Graham," and I think I saw him back there. I was like, "Oh, okay, so it's not him." And so what we have, just for those who haven't read the credentials, and again, I appreciate everybody for hopping on. Please make sure you like the stream and share it as well. Again, this is still a new endeavor, build it from the ground up, and so we need your support. But so we've got Bonita Brown. Now from the UNC system, they gave that she was previously the interim president in Northern Kentucky. So PWI, but I think the way that it was pronounced was a regional university. But she went into her story. If you get a chance to watch the press conference, did you guys get a chance to watch the press conference? Both of you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So she told a little bit of her story, which is that her parents were both alumni, graduates of WSSU, and that she actually attended WSSU in the womb with her mother. So that's that's always good to hear. We've had Winston-Salem natives previously that have been the chancellor. Harold Martin for sure was a native, but she went to Wake Forest, got 2 of her degrees there. She did talk about wanting to work with Wake Forest and figuring out how that would work. So that's going to be something to watch out for. But she previously worked at WSSU as well. She was here during the late Martin phase. So, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, Harold Martin was the standing chancellor that was on the committee for the selection of this.
I think about that.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Right.
That is correct.
Okay.
You just said it.
Yeah, so a lot of dots connecting here. She's not new to the school. She talked about I know she talked about in her introductory speech. She talked about being in the parade at WSSU as a child. She talked about going to football games at Bo McGray, and so a lot of background there. And then obviously, she's an attorney by trade. She mentioned that in her remarks to us that which I think is a good thing. She was like, she's an attorney, so she's gonna ask you the same question 2 or 3 times to make sure she gets the right answer. And I'm hoping that an attorney can keep us out of can mitigate any potential legal things. And her bio's out there for you to read. It's on HBCU Game Day and a lot of other different places. But what were you guys' just your overall thoughts on Ms. Brown as our new chancellor, the 14th chancellor at WSSU?
Well, so the first thing I read her profile, right, and I read what she said, and my first thought process was like, I hope nobody has the audacity to believe that she is a DEI pick. And I know people look at me a little weird saying that because like how that's typically used, but a lot of times it's like, oh, it's time for a woman. Like, yes, and it should have been time for a woman to be in that role, but let's make it quite clear. Her credentials are exceptional compared to what we've seen sometimes. And I think what really stuck out to me, in addition to the storytelling, right? Because I want a chancellor who wants to be here and didn't just apply to openings.
Yeah.
And it didn't come across that it wasn't like, oh, I'm just looking for wherever I can get to next in my career. No, she was like, she wanted to come here. That was like,
yes.
Yeah, like that was a goal. Like and there's something about that when you're talking about somebody who wants to lead an institution. Do they want to be of the institution, or is the institution just another stepping stone for their personal CV, right? So that stuck out to me immediately. Aside from that, from a professional standpoint, it's something about someone being a lawyer in the role of a chancellor that just makes me feel a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who know, I've worked at least five higher ed institutions at this point. HBCUs, not HBCUs, whatever, right? So you kind of get a gauge of what it's like to have certain people as the leadership of an institution. So there's something about the perspective of her being a lawyer, making sure that the paperwork's right, making sure that people have a clear idea of what they're supposed to do and how that thing is set up. I don't know, it feels kind of refreshing. And those were like the first couple of things that jumped out at me. And I'll talk about some other stuff that she said later. Just, yeah.
Okay.
I echo this that you mentioned. That wants to be here. I think I want to kind of hone that for a second. I think that and then she does the story just captured me. When she walks in and says, my parents were here, and how my education being here. And I actually kind of looked a little bit further and kind of know that she had been watching Winston for quite a while. She shared that she'd been looking at Winston-Salem State's kind of like, going-ons on social media and those kind of things like that. I did a little Facebook creeping, saw she had some mutual friends who were Winston affiliated and things. So I just loved seeing that she was connected to Winston, and it mattered to me because a lot of our alum will share this kind of like talk about how we need to do a better job of crafting and sharing our Winston story. I let that be what really fuels recruitment, what really fuels our engagement, what fuels our brand out there. And so when you have someone that's at the helm of your institution that has such a deep connection to your location, it really does make a different experience for what your chancellor looks like. And I think that's been, in my opinion, the secret sauce to Martin at A&T. He has such a connection to A&T that that just radiates through how he leads the institution. And I find a similar budding opportunity here for Chancellor Brown here at Winston that I hope will really lead us in a really great direction. I recognized Northern Kentucky's connection to Winston as a regional institution. And she shared a lot about our regional impact, from the $500 million economic impact to want to see more work with community engagement and more work with statewide connections and things like that. I think she really has a vision that she could allude that really wants to make us to be a regional powerhouse. And Eric also just captured a point I love as well. The Juris Doctorate for the terminal degree is such a very I thought it was a really great way to solve some higher ed's issues and find solutions. I think we have to. I think there's been just this old standard that you have your PhD, your faculty, you go on to be a provost, and you become like the chancellor and kind of like head up this academic departments. But a lot of the critical issues facing higher ed require different perspectives and different voices. I think that having someone with a Juris Doctorate does give a different vantage point to hopefully remedy a lot of issues we see around our space. And so all that together just makes this great, this big, like this loving like idea of what Winston could be. And I just found it to be my initial point to me. So very proud to see the selection happen. I've been very leery of our USC system and how transfer selections are going to come down here, because there are Winston kind of first of a similar number of institutions who really start sharing new chancellors. I was very worried what would happen with this approach, particularly because of our neighbors down the street have. I won't get into that. There's some issues with other chancellors elsewhere, but I was happy to see this election for Winston. I hope to see good things happen in the future.
Yeah, no, I think we all felt that. Again, great point by Eric, and again, this is not a DEI hire. This is just, it feels like the right hire. It feels like someone who understands in principle what it means to be a Ram, to the Ramily. We say that word, but like that's embedded. And she also has experience in our world of HBCUs and outside the world of HBCUs. I just want the record to show, since both of you guys saw the press conference, I just want the record to show I got a chance to ask her 2 questions. I was the only one to ask her 2 questions in the press conference. My first question was not about sports. It was not about sports. I don't want any super applause for that, but I said, you know what? I asked about alumni giving again, because and I believe it was Eric. I think on the HBCU Digest podcast way back then, I think you said something about a lot of us have T-shirt wearing pride, and and that is true. We love to come. We love when anybody talk about HBCUs, everybody gonna pull out their best Winston gear, whether it's Coach Savage or whether it's Dobbs or whoever, or whatever it is, licensed or not, they're gonna pull it out and they're gonna front, they're gonna stunt. But when it comes to, but then trying to get you into the football stadium, whether we're winning or losing, because if we're winning, nobody wants to go because we're gonna beat them. And if we're losing, nobody wants to go because we're gonna lose. Get you in there to spend some money outside that tailgate. It's a whole different thing. So I asked her, Chancellor-elect Brown, how she planned on getting the pride that we have in WSSU into getting those alumni giving numbers up. I don't have the clip right now, but I would love to have it in. But this is just kind of quick reaction. But she seems to understand that is part of her mission. When she went out and spoke to the media afterwards, after the initial press conference, the introductory, I asked her that again, just like fundraising, like because we all know that is in this job is something that we desperately need, is someone who's not afraid to get out there and pound the pavement. And, I know, she's got a law background. I haven't been extensive in there, but, from everything she said today, she was talking about just being in, going out into the community. I think she even talked about, again, there was a quote she had where she's like, we're on this hill, but we are a part of this town. And I think that's very important. When we went to we had an alumni, what was it? We had the alumni town hall, and like 1%, like 1% of our students are coming from Forsyth County or something like that, some very low number. So I think that was some things that stood out to me, and I'll give it back to you guys.
Yeah, I like that quote she said, and I think that connected to her talk about. I was kind of like jotting down notes, and she started to share. And one thing she mentioned about was she said several times that she was like trying to find. I would ensure we have like relevant academic programs that are in demand programs. I like that coupled with this vision of trying to be more for the city, more for the region, can really be something that really takes Winston very much forward. I think that that's a way to get that. Looking around the community and saying, what majors, what careers should we be seeing have more of a Winston? And how do we make sure our school, is a powerhouse, and especially as things are happening. And so I just loved how she connected that vision to making sure she got that involved. And I mean, you're right, man. That whole bit about the alumni with the school is a thing, right? We were out here to take our pride. We have our chance, but our chance don't translate into dollars, right? And so I think that if she can really do this work without captivating the story and really taking it out there and using data and numbers, hopefully, generate some support, that's going to help a lot. But it's also on us to really call our alumni in and call us out on what's happening. We have to work ourselves, right? We have to get very much connected to our institution. When we see our alumni going out and doing things, creating that, finding younger voices to get a part of this alumni association area and things like that. We have to create the Winston we want to see. It can't just be on one person and the staff to do that, right? When we see every other institution.
It's election plate, the Winston we want to see. I'm sorry, man. It got good. It got good too.
We have to make it happen. Otherwise, she won't be the fan that we want to be, and we'll be here 4 years from now upset about something that happened that we could have put a part in. So I agree that those alumni giving things have to be on the forefront of what we do, and we have to make that happen for ourselves.
So like there's two quotes there's two things that she said that stuck out to me heavily. The first thing, like she started mentioning like community partnerships and like the mention of the Hill. First thing first, calling Winston's campus the Hill just seems very cultural, like thematic, like talking about us as though we have a marketable identity, and we do. But a lot of our marketable identity has been, for the lack of a better word, old and boring.
Yes.
Like there's only but so many ways you could turn red and talk about horns. I get it, but come on now, let that stuff go. But so that's the first thing. But so I knew this was a new time and era for Winston when she talked about our number one in the country nursing program being out in the community of Winston. First of all, that should have been happening. But the fact that somebody on day one, mentioned that this would be something that we're doing, considering the reputation that our nursing program has, I was like, okay, cool. The other part that got me, and this is a little messy, and I'm okay with being the one that's a little messy. When she said, I will say, it is a new day with a smile. That was so hauntingly good.
It was thick in the room. It was thick in the room.
There are people who, when they heard that, they either needed to make sure that they went back to their rooms and they started to get back on their job, or went back to their offices and got ready to get on their resumes. Because for somebody to come out and say straight up, like, listen, I've been watching this school. This school is the school that I used to play around on when my parents were here and I was getting taken care of by other students, this, that, and the third. Yeah, I didn't go to school here, but this is home. Mm. And I've been watching the whole time. That's scary if you're used to getting by. So it was so exciting to see. And there's a lot of people who they experience higher education, but they don't know how higher education works.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of us have degrees, but we have no idea how our schools actually work, right? The role of a chancellor or a president at a non-state system like, UNC system, strategic partnerships, fundraising, identity and branding of the school, whether it's regionally or more widespread, right? And everything else will stem from that. So she gonna have her fingers in it. She's gonna be in here kneading this like dough, and it feels good to say that because and I got the chance to look at what she was doing at Northern Kentucky, and the emphasis on, yes, the metrics matter, but how does that actually look in a realized experience for a student-centered focus? That's really exciting to see, and it's exciting because compared to a lot of HBCU hires, and not just in the president or chancellor role, but in general for executive leadership, it is refreshing to hear someone talk like they've been working in higher education in the last 5 years.
Yes, no doubt. I love how you said that, man. And I think that to your point about it's just such a right, appropriate time, right? I think about our interim and Chancellor Graham, there was something like a transparency of like, here are the numbers, here are the facts. You all want to know what's happening. I'm not going to blame my predecessor, but here's where we are now, currently, right? And to take that like data-driven approach he had and now elevate it with her, she doesn't want to hear your stories about how you think they went to successful based on how many championships we get in Bowman Gray or how many Greeks are on the yard. She don't care about that. She really wants to find, this data-driven thing. So that means you have to create the data to essentially prove that we're proving our worth here. And so I think that's going to bring such a elevated experience to our mind we just so desperately need. And like you said, you get on board and you don't. But that smile at the end of that, it's a new day. It told you what it wanted to tell you. It's like, you're going to be here or you're going to be on higherjobs.com. But either way, we're going to be all right.
Right. Nah, man, great points. I would say too, and then we'll go to some of the comments from Brandon because great stuff there. I would say that we definitely, one of the things that I heard that I liked was, and I know somebody just pointed out in the group chat, she talked about, she dabbled in talking about AI, which is, the thing of the future. I'm using it every day. The logo from Ram Nation, like I designed that on ChatGPT. AI did that, a little tweak, a little here or there, and that's the future. And that's what these kids, not only are they up against, but they have to learn how to use and how to incorporate it in whatever it is that they're doing. And I think just having a chancellor who is thinking about that stuff makes a lot of sense. One of the media members actually asked the chancellor her birthday. We'll say she is solidly Gen X. She's solidly Gen X. And so, I think she's at an age where she's got a lot of experience. She's at a point where she's got a lot of experience and a lot of different roles. But still, I think that she just feels like this is a destination job for her, and she's ready to pour the energy in to really turn us up. And so I'll touch on some of Brandon's comments. Love her attentiveness to the programs we offer and the engagement in the community. No doubt about it. And then Brandon also says very refreshing. It's evident she's aware of the current climate of higher education. And I think, that's always the thing in higher education. I know, even in my department, mass communications, it's tough because it's a place where it's changing rapidly every day. And to teach there, you have to have a master's degree. And a lot of folks, if you have a doctorate, it's great, that some of these things. But when I was able to teach some of the students when I was there back in 2017, I could tell that they benefited from the fact that I'm in the field with this every day, and a lot of the things that they're trying to do, I was able to, so it's a field that changes a lot. So again, just having people that are, that understand that, I think is great. And like I said, I definitely feel like the winds of change are blowing. Like a great point, Eric. That was definitely a point where, like I said, it was like, okay, like she's not playing games. So as we appreciate appreciate both of you guys for hopping on to this, and I appreciate everybody who has interacted, shared this or anything. Again, it's a new platform, so I appreciate all of you guys. I don't want to hold you guys up too late, but just as we kind of close out this day, where we've brought again the first permanent woman chancellor at Winston-Salem State University. She's Gen X. She is WSSU born. When you talk about both of her parents being there, I think she said she went to North Davidson High School, so out in the Lexington area, so not quite Winston-Salem proper, but close enough. And I think that it looks like she's, we always want this. I think if we all had our perfect chancellor, they would be able to work a room. They'd be able to, fundraise for sure, delegate, be a CEO, and keep us out of legal trouble. And I don't know, in media for sure, there's always a thing called winning the press conference. I think she definitely won the press conference for sure. Credentials definitely seem to be there. And those are kind of my thoughts as I close the day. I'll let you guys give yours as well, and then we'll bid everybody adieu.
I don't know how to follow that, Stephen. To be fair, I will just say for our fellow Rams, get on the ship, man. Give her space to operate. Ask questions as opposed to making assumptions and giving things that you believe it should be the case. Get into some of these NAA meetings. Those of you who are involved, be open to accepting some other people to come into these NAA meetings. When times of change come in, it's a perfect time to, rethink how we've been addressing what we've been doing as a whole, whether it's alumni, faculty, staff, etc. It's a good day. So it can only get better if we all buy in. And that includes us as alumni. So, like I said, I'm excited. And I'm looking forward to what happens next.
Yeah, Jeremy?
I go the same, man. I do. I think that much like Eric said, I have a baby cousin who's living in colleges now, and she came to Winston for a band event, and she really likes Winston a lot. And I want to make sure that the Winston she has in a couple of years is as good or better than I had in 08 to 13. And so with that, I think that speaks to the shared responsibility we all hold to make our school what we want it to be. She can only do what she can do if we're behind her, right? And so Eric's laid out a path there as well. I add to that, share the good news in Winston. Share the possibilities we have for our students. If you're in your hometown or community, your kids going to Winston, make sure you connect and tap in and get them involved, whatever, right? But we have to take responsibility together and to have accountability together to really pull our institution where we want it to be. And so I really hope that we all can hopefully make Winston really win in that kind of way. I'm excited. I really am. I was excited to hear it. I've been excited all day. Looking forward to what's to come.
Yeah, man. I wish I had that Dr. Umar. I'm excited, brothers and sisters. That clip. Yeah, I think it's tough. It's tough to get WSSU alumni on the same page about something, happy about something at the same time. So I think we should savor this moment. Power to the Rams.
Bottle it even like this.
Bottle up this day. Let it all say that May 29th, the Rams were largely on one accord. Again, there might have been some people in that room that were kind of sweating, kind of looking, but that's not a bad thing. Talk about accountability and things like that. So, Mr. Howell, we appreciate you for being in on the conversation. Again, I really appreciate both these gentlemen for hopping on. I know Jeremy agreed yesterday when I thought about this, and Eric was able to hop on today as well. I appreciate both of you guys. I appreciate your voices and your passion. Whether we always agree or not, always nothing but love and respect for you guys. I know, you guys care about the school, you care about higher education, and you care about HBCUs, but most of all, you care about WSSU. So you guys are welcome on here anytime. Any other folks that want to be involved with this platform, please Let me know how we can do it. I got a couple of ideas. I know I would love to spotlight some of the business owners as we mind our Ram business. So nobody's stealing that title though. It's already put out here in the atmosphere. And I got some student interns as well that are looking to contribute. So again, appreciate you guys, everybody. Please share this if you're watching after the fact. Please leave us a comment what it is, what class you are, or what your tie is to WSSU, and your thoughts on the new hires. So for both of the guys, I'm going to end this stream, and we'll see you later.
All right, take care.